Well, one of his classmates, his being the President of the United States, Barack Obama, one of his classmates at Columbia University, class of 83, has written an article titled The Real Obama Agenda, direct from his Columbia University classmate. He says, my Ivy League classmates, all spoiled brat, lucky sperm club, guilty members, all being born to white privileged parents. I don't think that describes Barack Obama, but anyhow, says that they were all having every advantage and they all had the same goal, to bring down the capitalist system and redistribute the wealth. I'm reading from this. They have a rage and hatred toward anyone who disagrees with them. That's actually, he says that disagrees with him. I'll edit it. Who disagrees with him? And that's why they so despised Ronald Reagan. The author of this piece, Wayne Allen Root, who was the vice presidential candidate of the Libertarian Party of the United States in 2008, is now the chair of the National Libertarian Congressional Committee and serves on the Libertarian National Committee, the LNC. His website, rootforamerica.com, and he's also the author of The Conscience of a Libertarian. Wayne Root, welcome back to our program.
Hey, Tom, just remember, I'm no fan of Republicans either. I'm an equal opportunity offender. I can't stand any of them.
Oh, come on, Wayne. Libertarians are just Republicans who want to smoke dope and get laid.
Well, I can't argue with that. That's kind of accurate.
Wow, you just gave me my validation of for 8 years I've been saying that. And you're the first libertarian who's ever acknowledged it. Okay, Wayne, you say that the President of the United States has a real agenda that the rest of us don't know about, that it's super secret, it's scary, it goes back to when he was at Columbia University. You were in the same university, the same class, 83, that it is socialism ripped right out of the pages of Karl Marx. Now, first of all, you acknowledge in your article that you never met President Obama, never even heard of him being on campus. And
you should be concerned about that, too. That's a strange situation. I was pre-law like him, political science major like him, graduated.
Well, I'm assuming instead of partying with the fraternities, he was studying. That's why he was there on a scholarship, and he was an honor student.
I'm assuming that I was studying, and he was probably smoking dope and plotting the overflow of capitalism, and it worked.
Okay, well, let's get to that. How is capitalism being overthrown by the Obama administration?
Well, first of all, you said I think it's a secret thing. I don't think it's secret anymore. I mean, the latest Rasmussen poll, which was just 2 weeks ago, 55% of all Americans agree the most accurate word to describe Obama is socialist.
Yeah, but the Rasmussen poll is mostly of Fox News viewers. That's a bizarre subset of America. You don't think
the majority of Americans agree that the most accurate word to describe Obama's economic policies are socialist? I think that's a given. It's a given.
I wish it was the case.
It's not a curse word. It's, people have a right to believe in socialism. He does. He should just own up to it in a minute, because that's what he's doing. I mean, the government now is in control of pretty much everything you could name, from student loans to even what kind of water you use in your shower. Did you hear the latest? That now they don't want you to have those showers that have 8 spouts with water coming out because that uses too much water, so they're going to ban that? I mean, I've never heard of such a thing. You can't tell me how much water to use in my shower unless you want to use the word socialism, Marxism, communism.
Well, the alternative would be to just triple the price of your water. Would you prefer that?
I would absolutely prefer that. At least then the free market has a chance. Some people will choose to pay it. And
so then the poor people get screwed and you can use as much water as you want.
Well, poor people, I guess, if you quote the Obama administration, the average person is not using 8 water spouts in their shower. It's only the rich Republicans. So therefore, everyone should learn to live with the same shared
The Obama
misery.
administration said that?
Yeah, the head of the environmental agency at the Obama administration said this isn't a problem. Less than 2% of Americans have those kind of fancy showers. Most people live with a normal shower. Tell everyone to live with the same normal shower. Well, you know what I call that? Shared misery. That's what they do in Cuba and Russia.
You realize, Wayne, that there are states that are on the verge of going to war with each other over water.
I realize that
in these United States.
I realize that there's something called the 10th Amendment, and states have a right to choose to do what states want to do, but Obama doesn't recognize that. Look at Arizona. He's suing a state, and he's got Mexico as basically a plaintiff in the case, joining in with him. It's crazy. Speaking of states.
Yeah. Well, let me just suggest to you, as an advocate of socialism myself, that at least democratic socialism where the majority of the people say, yes, we want this to work this way, and socialism that doesn't involve anything other than the commons. And I think that water, frankly, is part of our commons. And I mean, if he had said, I want to regulate your shoe size, I'd have a problem with that. But, that's not the commons, but the
But see,
wise.
I have no problem with what you just said, because at least you admit you're a socialist. I think that's refreshing, and I think at least it's fair, so I know what I'm dealing with in debating, and you and I always have fair debates. I like you. Obama's not.
But my point is, I wish he was a socialist.
He is.
I mean, come on, this guy. He's listening to Rahm Emanuel. He's listening to little Timmy Geithner. He's listening to Lawrence Summers. He's allowing monopoly capitalism, which Ronald Reagan unleashed on the United States in 1981, 1982, when he stopped enforcing the Sherman Antitrust Act. The Obama administration has been allowing a monopoly capitalism to continue. And it's not capitalism. It's not any kind of reasonable capitalism. It's the cancer stage of capitalism. And it's going to destroy this republic that, Wayne, you and I both love.
Now, here's where you probably expect me to debate with you, but I'm basically agreeing with you. I think what Obama is really putting forth is some strange hybrid combination of socialism and fascism. I think he's trying to screw over all the small businessmen and women in America like me, and the people he's rewarding are his supporters who write the biggest checks with the biggest corporations.
But the biggest corporations have now turned against the Democratic Party.
Yeah, but
the Chamber of Commerce, Tom Donahue is out there bragging about how he's raising money. You got Karl Rove and Ed Gillespie just started this 501c4 so that they can just pour money into political campaigns. And 97% of the money they've raised has come from 4 billionaires. The big money. The big banks, the New York Times did the whole big story about this, where they were quoting people from Goldman Sachs and whatnot. We're having buyer's remorse was the phrase that they used around having supported President Obama during the election.
Yeah, because hey, Tom,
yeah.
They expected him to do what he did for most of the first year and a half of his administration, which is play with the rules and mold them in a way that gets his agenda in, but at the same time helps all his supporters who write big checks at those big corporations.
He helped the insurance companies get larger,
right.
And at the same time, he made sure that more Americans got insurance. So it was one of those kind of everybody wins and everybody gets to be critical of it. And it was a Solomonic, split the baby in half decision the whole point of Solomon's example was don't do this, right?
Can I ask you a question, Tom? Did you see today, and I think we're both on the same side of this one, here's a guy, Obama, who said he was the most transparent president ever, wanted a transparent government. The new financial reform law has a clause in it, a surprise clause nobody knew about, that says the SEC no longer has to respond to anyone requesting information from the government. They are completely
Darrell Issa has gone ballistic about this. If it's true, then that law should be amended. I'm not a person who trusts anything that Darrell Issa says.
I can't believe you could be a fan of Obama. I got a call yesterday from a good friend of mine. I'm not going to embarrass him and give you his name, but a huge liberal Jewish citizen of Las Vegas who loved Obama, who made a bet with me on election night that Obama would win the election about 6 months before, loved Obama, proud of him. His mother and father voted for him, and all three of them are completely disappointed and disillusioned. They can't stand him now. So I can't see how liberals could like him. I can't see how anyone could like him. He's got none of the charisma people thought he had before the election, and he seems detached. All he wants to do is play golf and go on vacation.
I think he's moving in the right direction. I think the problem, and first of all, I don't understand what your friends being Jewish had to do with any of this.
Oh, just Jews for the most part. I happen to be Jewish, and the Jewish vote went 80% for Obama, and I'm predicting now that in the next election, you're lucky if Obama gets 50. I think more like 40.
I think some of that has had to do with his colliding with Netanyahu, but in any case, that's a side issue, and we're pretty much out of time here. But I think that if the progressives can organize the way that conservatives have and the way that you libertarians have to push your Republican candidates to the right, that we can push Obama to the left. And I'm hopeful we can do that.
But you can't win elections and do that at the same time. You
I think so.
You're a socialist to win elections. You
I
can't.
think most Americans like socialism. They don't call it that, but they like social security.
Well, most Democrats do, but I don't think most Americans do, Tom.
Okay, Wayne Root, rootforamerica.com. Thanks, Root. Thanks, Wayne.
Thanks.
Good talk.